People say, it doesn't make sense. He's a billionaire from New York, no less. And everything he sits on is gold. How could he possibly connect with the common man? And yet he keeps winning more of them. Trump got trounced by black voters in 2016, so he brought in some muscle from the West Coast, someone he knows black men love, Kim Kardashian. Should Kamala Harris run for California governor in 2026 after polls show her leading? I'm going to give that a big no.
Yeah, I think she's had her chance several times.
She should run far, far away.
Yeah, I think Kamala Harris would make a great president of a university.
Back with some fundamental stuff. I say rather articulately.
Bill Maher isn't giving failed presidential candidate Kamala Harris a free pass anytime soon, as he recently shredded her over how she fumbled the 2024 elections. Drawing a sharp comparison to Trump, Maher argued that Kamala must confront some hard truths and overhaul her playbook if she ever hopes to win an election. As always, smash that subscribe button and let's dive right in.
Trump runs for office like that kid in 8th grade who ran for school president on a pledge of more snow days. Okay, I was that kid. Now, could I actually make it snow more? No, but elections are won on the margins by a coalition of little things that hit people personally. Trump gets this. He feels your pain in the...
I couldn't agree more with Maher on this one. Say what you will about Donald Trump, but the man has mastered the art of pulling in every kind of crowd, from diehard conservatives to skeptical moderates and even some of his loudest critics. That's not luck. That's calculated strategy. Just think about it. He managed to soften up people like Bill Maher and Joe Scarborough, two of his most relentless detractors, simply by doing something Kamala Harris could never dream of, inviting them to dinner. That's the genius of Trump. He doesn't sulk. He doesn't hide behind excuses. He flips the script and forces his critics into the spotlight with him. Maher himself admitted that Trump's unconventional outreach was far more effective than anything Kamala put on the table. And honestly, that's the brutal truth Harris and her team refused to confront.
Kamala ran on democracy, which is the most important issue. But without the political skill to sell it, it added up to nothing. Meanwhile, Trump was running on, I'll make the poop go down. He never shut up about bad shower pressure, shitty light bulbs, and low-flow toilets. Not exactly ask not what your country can do for you, but for some little niche group, it was all that mattered. He's right. It shouldn't take 2 flushes to make my shit go away. That's my guy, YMCA.
Here's where Trump's background as a businessman and marketer really came into play. While most politicians recite talking points, Trump knew how to take even the most mundane campaign message, things the Democrats wouldn't dare touch, with a 10-foot pole and rebrand it into something bold, catchy, and unforgettable. He didn't just talk about issues. He sold them like a product, wrapping them in drama, showmanship, and a sense of urgency. That's why his campaign promises stuck in people's heads. Whether you loved him or hated him, Kamala Harris, on the other hand, stuck with the traditional playbook. She zeroed in on the core issues, but lacked the ability to market them in a way that connected with ordinary voters. That's the real difference between Trump and Kamala. One knows how to package politics like primetime television, and the other delivers it like a dry policy seminar.
People say, it doesn't make sense. He's a billionaire from New York, no less. And everything he sits on is gold. How could he possibly connect with the common man? And yet he keeps winning more of them. Trump got trounced by black voters in 2016, so he brought in some muscle from the West Coast, someone he knows black men love, Kim Kardashian.
Trump even approached celebrities in a way that Kamala Harris couldn't begin to match. While Kamala leaned on Hollywood to churn out tired cliches and pre-scripted endorsements that fell flat with everyday Americans, Trump flipped the strategy on its head. He didn't just parade celebrities for shallow applause lines. He made them part of the narrative, teaching them to echo and amplify his core messages. Whether it was athletes, musicians, or outspoken actors, Trump got them to frame his ideas in language that regular voters understood. And that made the message travel far beyond the political bubble. The difference was striking. Kamala's celebrity endorsements felt detached, elitist, and more like virtue signaling than persuasion. Trump's, on the other hand, came across as organic, almost grassroots because they were tightly woven into his brand. And in politics, perception is everything. That's where Trump completely outplayed her.
Together, they passed the First Step Act, which scaled back restrictions on felons, a connection he built on in 2024 by becoming one. And then he pardoned Lil Wayne and pardoned Kodak Black and the CEO of Jay-Z's company and the founder of Death Row Records and the former mayor of Detroit. So it's not surprising that Kanye and Wayne and Chris Brown and Amber Rose and Snoop and DaBaby all talked him up. That last one out of professional courtesy.
Trump's masterstroke with the black community was one of those moments that showed his instincts as a political brawler. By pardoning some of the community's most iconic music stars and cultural figures, he wasn't just checking a box. He was making a calculated, symbolic move that resonated far beyond politics. It was bold, headline-grabbing, and deeply personal for many. That's the essence of smart politics. Step right into the communities where you're least welcome and do something unexpected. Something that forces even your harshest critics to take a second look. You may not flip the entire group, but you'll claw away just enough support to weaken your opponent's stronghold. That's exactly what Trump did. Instead of lecturing or pandering, he delivered tangible results wrapped in spectacle. Kamala Harris, for all her rhetoric, never came close to pulling off anything as daring or as effective.
Now, did he win the black vote? Not even close. But he doubled what he got in 2020, and in places like Philly, Detroit, and Milwaukee, that was the difference. And now he's going to do it with pot. Finally, he got around.
Since assuming office, Trump hasn't rested on his laurels or abandoned the tricks that made him a political force. His latest move, pushing to federally legalize marijuana, a bold play straight out of the unconventional Trump playbook. And let's not forget, this is the very issue Bill Maher has been passionately championing for years. If it goes through, Trump won't just be making history. He'll be winning over an entire subculture of pot lovers, growers, and advocates who never thought they'd tip their hats to him. Even though he's barred from running for a third term in 2028, this kind of move cements his influence and keeps him at the center of the national conversation. And Kamala Harris, instead of delivering bold agenda-shifting policies, she's busy showing up at conferences where she has little expertise, spouting her usual word salads that leave voters unimpressed and disengaged.
Harris would be the first woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no finger.
Harris was never truly popular with voters. It always felt like she was forced on the public by the DNC power structure, not chosen by the people. From the start, her candidacy carried the air of obligation rather than inspiration. That stigma never left her. What made it worse was that she did virtually nothing to change the perception during her 4 years as vice president. She had the platform, the visibility, and countless opportunities to connect with ordinary Americans. Yet she squandered them with awkward interviews, uninspiring speeches, and policy positions that never broke through. Instead of building a base of genuine support, Harris leaned on party machinery and identity politics, hoping that would carry her through. But voters can spot authenticity, or the lack of it, from a mile away. And that's why, despite all the fanfare, she never came close to winning hearts or minds.
In 3 years as vice president, she's been quieter than an electric car. Sometimes life isn't fair. It's not fair that she's not popular. She's intelligent and accomplished, and in fact was put in charge of the border. And look at how... Okay, bet.
This was nothing short of a devastating verbal takedown by Bill Maher. A raw, unfiltered, and spicy assessment of Kamala Harris's 4 years as vice president. Maher didn't sugarcoat a thing, and frankly, he didn't need to. Harris simply didn't do herself any favors. She was handed one clear, high-stakes assignment that could have defined her tenure and showcased her leadership, manage the border crisis. Instead of rising to the occasion, she bottled it, retreating into vague speeches, photo ops, and political deflections that convinced no one. For many Americans, this was her big audition for the presidency. The chance to prove she could handle a national crisis with competence and authority. But when the spotlight hit, she froze and the opportunity slipped away. Maher's critique stings precisely because it's true. Harris had one defining test, and she failed spectacularly.
You know, I mean, I don't know why we ever thought she was as bad as people thought she was. It was like Biden had that one bad night. She had a bad 3 years. She did. But she's fine. I mean, she's fine.
Kamala Harris's stint as vice president was nothing short of a disaster. In fact, many would argue she ranks among the worst vice presidents this nation has ever seen. Instead of using her historic role to inspire confidence and deliver results, Harris became known for her incoherent word salads that left audiences scratching their heads. But it wasn't just the rambling speeches. It was her unapologetic embrace of deeply unpopular, hyper-progressive causes. She positioned herself as a champion of cancel culture where dissenting voices are silenced rather than debated. And she openly backed the idea of allowing biological males to compete in women's sports, a stance that alienated a huge portion of ordinary Americans. Rather than standing as a unifying leader, Harris doubled down on divisive issues that fractured support even within her own party. It's no wonder her approval ratings never recovered and her legacy remains so heavily tarnished.
Should Kamala Harris run for California governor in 2026 after polls show her leading? I'm going to give that a big no.
Yeah, I think she's had her chance several times.
She should run far, far away.
Yeah, I think Kamala Harris would make a great president of a university.
Act with some fundamental stuff. I say rather articulate.